Listen very carefully and follow my instructions. Prepare your brain for the CoreTech Labs Nootropics podcast.
I gotta tell you, being an entrepreneur, I will not go through the rest of my career without taking nootropics. Aniracetam, Racetams, modafinil, Nupep, uridine monophosphate. I mean, phenylpiracetam, forget it. You can always have a better brain.
The CoreTech Labs Nootropics podcast is about to begin.
Episode number 103 of the CoreTech Labs Nootropics podcast. I am your host, Ryan Michael Ballo. Today we are going to straight shot Q&A, and obviously you guys can't interact with me on this one, so it's not a live Q&A, but it is a collection of questions that have been asked, sent to me via email about nootropics that I'm going to answer. There is a lot of information in this podcast, so it's going to be hopefully super valuable for you guys. In the meantime, product special. Right now, the CoreTech stack is $28 using the coupon code 5, F-I-V-E. If you want to try, or if you want to get another bottle of the stack that you already love, an awesome pre-made stack. I mean, focus, motivation, verbal fluency, mental energy, all the stuff you want from a nootropic, productive drive. Buy a bottle of CoreTech right now, livecoretechs.com. Pause this podcast, use the coupon code 5, F-I-V-E, and get yourself a bottle of what's being called the only pre-made stack that actually really works. Do that at livecoretechs.com. If you need my help personally on anything related to nootropics, look, we have a consulting service. It's a 40-minute call with me, 15 additional email correspondences. We help people figure out stacks that work for them. In a lot of cases, we save people years. We figure out stuff that might take people 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in about 2 weeks. Okay, just working with folks, helping them figure out stacks, adjusting doses, understanding just by asking them a couple questions what will work well for them. Get that consult at livecoretechs.com. Right now, it is $60. If you're new to nootropics, buy Smarter, Better, Faster. That's our digital book that teaches you everything about nootropics, stacks, cycling, microdosing protocols, my favorite stacks. Everything you can think of is in Smarter, Better, Faster. And if you're new, you also have the option of getting the Nootropics Starter Pack, which is a bottle of our stack CoreTech plus a digital copy of Smarter, Better, Faster. Get all that stuff at livecoretechs.com. Remember, buy the CoreTech Nootropic stack right now at $28 using the coupon code 5, F-I-V-E, at livecoretechs.com. First question, I'm going to try to paraphrase these emails and make them as short as I can. Dear Ryan, I have been taking Aniracetam, oxiracetam, and phenylpiracetam with alpha-GPC at varying doses throughout the course of the last year. In the beginning, all of them seemed to work really well for me, but now they're not. I'm getting brain fog and having major issues with them. What do you suggest? Well, I don't see the doses on alpha-GPC. I don't see your Racetam doses, but the first thing I would say is you need to add magnesium, calcium, and a B complex, because at some point, somehow acetylcholine is getting a little mismatched in your brain, and you need those compounds to regulate them. The biggest thing I can say to people that have problems with cholinergics is you need to add a B complex at this point. Like if you've responded well to them and now you're kind of not, you need to add a B complex every time to regulate neurotransmission, particularly acetylcholine. That's question number 1. All right, question number 2, Ryan, I've been hearing a lot about phenibut. I even know a guy who says that after long stints of work, he takes phenibut for a couple nights and sleeps really good and it resets him. What is your take on that? My take on that is that's absolutely true, and it could be the case for a lot of people. I would say also that it's synthetic GABA, so you want to be really, really careful because, the more you take it, 3 days or more, the more likelihood you have of having a pretty significant withdrawal once you stop taking it. I mean, it's such a constant synthetic blast of essentially, GABA, synthetic GABA, that it binds to the receptors, makes them want that much GABA. So when you stop taking it, even if it's just 3 days, even if you've only taken it for 3 days, your GABA receptors go into an amazing withdrawal. And like the symptoms run the gamut: depression, super lack of motivation, kind of staying in bed all day, paranoia. It is not good. So if you really want to get that kind of sleep reset, you need to shoot for like a gram of ashwagandha, a gram of rhodiola, 500 milligrams of theanine, and 5 grams of glycine. That is my suggestion over phenibut. Now, look, if you want to take phenibut once a week or something at low doses, 300 to 500 milligrams, to get yourself a little bit of relaxation, it'll be enough. I mean, it should be enough for most folks unless you've been taking benzodiazepines for a while. then do so. But the next day, do not take it. And preferably the next day, take like a uridine-centric stack so that you can get dopamine functioning again, and perhaps even take some high-dose theanine so you can keep GABA production in your brain. Third question. Ryan, I have been learning guitar, interestingly enough, me too, and I'm wondering what the best nootropic suggestion you think is to accelerate learning. I would say definitely Racetams. You want either Aniracetam, Oxiracetam, or Piracetam for that. I mean, those seem to be the best learning strategies. You could also do Noopept. Doses vary. I mean, with Piracetam, what I would do is I would start with 4 grams of Piracetam, 300 milligrams choline bitartrate. That's what I would start with. That doesn't work all that well. Bring in the Aniracetam at 750 milligrams, 200 milligrams choline bitartrate. That doesn't work well. Bring in Oxiracetam at 1 gram and 300 milligrams of choline bitartrate. I believe that is a great sort of starter stack. Starter stacks when you're learning guitar. I'm doing it, and that's what I'm using to make learning a lot quicker. And it actually works. If none of those are kind of hit the spot for you, I would bring in Noopept at 10 milligrams, and I'd bring in alpha GPC, in this case at 75 milligrams, and see where you're at. But yeah, you want to shoot for memory-centric compounds. Generally because you're going to be learning guitar over the course of 6 months to a year to really learning all the open chords, learning the bar chords, learning all that stuff. And so I would be also maintenance dosing 4 or 5 days a week, 500 milligrams of lion's mane. Next question. Ryan, what is your take on BPC 157? Okay, BPC 157 is basically it's like a reparative, I think it's a peptide. Basically the idea of it is that wherever you take it, I mean, you could take it orally or you can inject it on site. It's supposed to repair whatever might be wrong. A lot of athletes use BPC 157 for repairing like tendon issues or muscle issues or pulled muscles or pinched nerves and things of this nature, just stuff that they haven't been able to repair otherwise. Like the stuff goes kind of right into the area and then starts working on kind of tissue repair. BPC 57 is incredible. I've seen it do everything from healing kind of minor injuries over the course of 3 days that would have taken 2 to 3 weeks to heal, or maybe even more, to, in some cases, enhancing people's libido considerably, probably via upregulating or repairing 5-HT1A serotonin subtype receptors. Because one of the things that can go wrong in people is those receptors aren't accepting serotonin enough. There's a whole complex system there, presynaptic, postsynaptic, and then kind of autoreceptor on 5-HT1A, where if that goes wrong, then you're sort of signaling to all your goodies, and especially in terms of sensitivity, goes awry. So so your libido is not really turned on because frankly, to put it simply, you're sort of not sensitive. You're a little numb down there. So I've seen that actually repair people's libido because it cleared up that numbness and probably fixed something between the brain and particularly that serotonin subtype receptor and kind of the rest of the communication of the body for enhancing libido. I think it's useful also for gut problems. There has been some anecdotal reports. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I do with my free time, just like researching everything on the Nootropics subreddit, which talks about people basically fixing GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disorder from taking BPC 157. Now, in cases where people have I think what's happening there is people have ulcers or other traditional reasons that might cause sort of semi-GERD or semi-consistent but not completely consistent, acid reflux, because in a lot of cases, reflux is caused by an overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine, which produces methane gas and pushes, therefore, stomach contents up and causes reflux. I'm not sure it'll work for that, but it has worked for other causes of reflux. Other than that, it is a research chemical, some studies behind it. Relatively safe as far as I can tell. I know many, many people who've taken it. I've got some coming in that I want to experiment with, and so that's my take on BPC 157. Pretty awesome compound. All right, next question. Ryan, I have notoriously low blood pressure, probably because I'm a runner, and sometimes I get lightheaded and need to intake salt. I also suspect that I have some sort of adrenal fatigue. What is your suggestion on that, nootropic-wise? I wouldn't suggest nootropics for that. The first thing you need to do is measure aldosterone and cortisol. If both of those are low, then yes, you've got adrenal fatigue. Not that the adrenal glands actually get fatigue, because they don't. That's why the medical establishment goes, oh, adrenal fatigue is not a real thing, because those glands can't get fatigue, but your body will get fatigue because your adrenal glands are not pumping out cortisol, number one, and aldosterone. And aldosterone regulates salt balance. So basically, when you pee, your kidneys will not hold on to the right amount of salt. You'll pee out a lot of kind of sodium, and then your blood sodium levels will go down, and that's the mechanism for fatigue in conjunction with low cortisol. So my suggestion on that is, first you got to fix it, then you can bring in some nootropics. The way to fix it is 8 capsules of Thorne Adrenal Cortex a day, 4 capsules a day of Nature's Way licorice root. That's going to stimulate cortisol production. Liberally salting your foods and staying away from diuretics, and then also not working out very hard. Do very, very light workouts. That's going to be a 6-month period of doing that, at which point you'll gain everything back. Your functionality, the fatigue will go away. Cortisol should be regulated, and so should aldosterone. At that point, you probably want a maintenance dose. You want to split that dose of everything in half and maintenance dose that for the next year. These kind of things take a long time to heal, and even thereafter, you might need to maintenance dose it for good measure. Then after that, get back into nootropics, but watch out, because there is an interaction between acetylcholine signaling and adrenal hormone output, as far as I can tell. I've done some research on it. Okay, so that's my take on that. Next question that kind of came up that we did a video about recently. Ryan, I've been taking modafinil and a bunch of other stacks over the course of the last month, and it has skyrocketed my productivity. However, at some point during the week, I often feel like I am getting burnout. The guy's basically saying, he's getting burnt out from it because it's making him not sleep all that well. It's sort of stressing him out a little bit. What should I do? My take on that, which we did a video about pretty recently, is that what you need to do is you need to cycle off of everything for 2 days. If you are going to take nootropics because you need them, because you've got a business demand or something, then I would shoot for non-neurotransmitter modifying compounds, not significant neurotransmitter modifying compounds, low dose Alcar, regular dose theacrine, rely on caffeine throughout that time, low dose yohimbine, things like ALA to kind of clear the brain out, and vinpocetine. That's what you want to shoot for during those 2 days. You don't want to take heavy hitters. You don't want to take Racetams. You definitely don't want to take modafinil. What you need to do at nighttime in that particular situation, because I've been through this many, many times, it happens to the best of us when there's so much work going on and you're consistently taking nootropics, especially modafinil, is you have to take a gram or so of ashwagandha, 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of rhodiola, maybe 200 to 500 milligrams of theanine, and then 3 to 5 grams of glycine before bed. And you got to get to bed at a reasonable hour, enough so that you can sleep at least 8 hours, but optimally to reset from that situation, which I've been in many times, and this is really the only thing that truly, truly works, you got to sleep like 10 to 12 hours. So if you can manage sleeping that long, do that 2 days in a row, that should reset everything and get you primed to be able to take nootropics again and kind of go back into another 2 to 3 week essentially binge of hard work and taking nootropics so you can optimize or keep your brain operating the way that it needs to be. All right, next question. Ryan, I suffer from a lack of motivation. I've tried a bunch of nootropics, mainly Racetams and modafinil. Modafinil does it for me to an extent, but I feel like when I'm off of it, my baseline is still crappy. He used an expletive, but I don't think I can curse on iTunes podcasts here. So what is your take? My take on that is you need to work on something that's going to take your baseline from where it is now, which is obviously crappy, to better. And the only thing that I can suggest, considering that you're talking about motivation, is working on dopamine. The best way to work on dopamine is a uridine-centric stack that you take 3 to 4 days a week over the course of at least 2 to 3 months before you start to notice significant results. We've got clients that are in this particular situation, and we give them a uridine-centered stack. We figure out which doses work for them. And then in some cases, after about 3 or 4 weeks, they're already feeling more motivated above their baseline, because essentially they just upregulated dopamine receptors, which is what you need to do in this particular case. So something like the Mr. Happy stack would be my suggestion. The other suggestion would be the CoreTech stack. The CoreTech stack, I mean, that's what it does. That's why when people take it, their mood is better. They're motivated. They actually want to do work. So buy a bottle of CoreTech, live CoreTechs.com, or take the Mr. Happy stack. or otherwise take those ingredients that are in essentially both of those stacks, pick one and then take the ingredients and then fuss with the doses to find something that really works for you, gets you acute mental performance, as well as, over the course of 3 or 4 weeks starts to make you feel better above baseline. Next question, Ryan. I love the idea of taking Racetams because it seems like everybody in the world but me responds to them. I only respond to Colaracetam. I cannot take phenylpiracetam, Aniracetam, oxiracetam, or piracetam. Why not? And what should I do? Well, first I want to say, look, if you respond only to one Racetam, that is not a problem. That's just something that for a lot of people they're going to run into. So, look, if Colaracetam is doing it for you, it's probably just because your brain is in a place where just surging acetylcholine or making it release more, which is what alpha GPC would surge it and CDB-choline, but Racetams will make it release more from the hippocampus. That's not what you need. You actually need to be able to uptake regular complex B vitamin choline, which comes from eggs, or even choline bitartrate, and you need to be able to get that into your cells better. That's your issue, that's the thing that you want to target. And there's only one compound that does that, and that's Colaracetam. It's called high affinity choline uptake. So it shuttles choline into cells, and then the cells do their job on synthesizing acetylcholine. That's why you're responding to Colaracetam and nothing else. I would also say that you'll probably respond good to Faciracetam too. So shoot for 10 to 40 milligrams of Faciracetam with a very low dose choline source, and see what you get. Last question. On the microdosing protocol for Aniracetam, which is an Aniracetam microdosing protocol that we laid out in Smarter, Better, Faster, you're taking like 150 milligrams, very small doses, every couple hours until you reach 600 or 700 milligrams of Aniracetam. In the Aniracetam microdosing protocol, I have been using that. However, it's very short-lived, and I'm wondering if I can go up to 1,500 over the course of the day. The answer is yes. You can dose essentially 200 milligrams of Aniracetam, wait 2 hours, another 200 milligrams of Aniracetam, wait 2 hours, another 200 milligrams of Aniracetam, wait 2 hours, 150 milligrams of Aniracetam, wait 2 hours, 200 milligrams Aniracetam, wait an hour. You can do that throughout the day. And for folks that are getting good results with the microdosing protocol, because some people just do, like 700 milligrams is not, at one time, it is not good for them. It kind of gives them brain fog. It's too much cholinergic signaling. Their brain can't put up with it, so you need to microdose it. But yes, if the effect duration is small and you're running out of effects but feel like you can tolerate more, don't go back to attack dosing or regular dosing. Yes, keep taking the microdoses throughout the day. You can do that all the way up till 8 or 9 o'clock at night and reach 1,500 milligrams if need be. I do that sometimes because, frankly, that's why I put that protocol out there, because microdosing Aniracetam is one of the best strategies I've ever figured out. When I don't sleep well and there's stress going on, my brain's not working, 700 milligrams of Aniracetam is where I need to be, especially if I need to multitask and be really stimulated to work. But if all else is well and I just need a bump above baseline and some good working memory, I'll microdose throughout the day. And yes, I've taken it up to 1,000 milligrams. I just didn't need any more at that point. You can take it up to 1,500 if you feel that you need to. All right, that is 17 minutes of Q&A. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We will do a lot more of these because, God, I have a list of questions that I haven't even gotten to yet because people are sending me, probably 20, 30 emails every day about questions, so there's just so much to run through. So we'll be doing some more podcasts and videos on that moving forward. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, guys, CoreTech stack right now, the CoreTech Nootropics stack, $28, coupon code 5, FIVE at livecortex.com. If you need my help personally, we just bumped the price of our consulting service, which is a 40-minute call with me, 15 additional email threads, down to $60. It used to be $79, and that right there is a good price to get 11 years worth of nootropics experience synthesized into 40 minutes. I mean, we help people figure out things that would take them a year, 2 years, 3 years in about 2 weeks, okay? So buy that consulting service at livecortex.com. And if you're new to nootropics, you got two product options. Number one, the Nootropics Starter Pack, which gets you a bottle of CoreTech Plus, Smarter, Better, Faster. That's our digital book that teaches you everything you need to know about nootropics. And that's a package deal. The other option is just Smarter, Better, Faster by itself. If you don't want to take CoreTechs, then just buy Smarter, Better, Faster. That's our digital book that gives you cycling, gives you stacks, gives you my methodology. It shows you basically really how you need to surgically use nootropics. It's based on, at that point, my 8 or 9 years of experience of taking nootropics. Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. More content soon. Check us out on the YouTube channel at the CoreTech Labs Nootropics channel, on the web at livecortex.com, livecortex.com/blog, and on Facebook at facebook.com/CoreTechStacks. Thanks so much for listening. Rock on. We'll talk to you next time.